I used to be 6'3", but I settled in shipping. Listen, I'm a Mainer by birth and a Democrat by marriage. Because my wife, there was no way she was going to go to the altar with me while I was still registered as an independent. And she'll tell you still that in 1968, she'll say, Richard Nixon said he had a plan to get us out of Vietnam, and Steve believed him. She's never let me forget that. But look, no, I'm going to stand down here. I'm more comfortable. I just want to say what a pleasure it is to be here and to be here with Democrats. It's like you can breathe. You can really breathe. And I'm not going to talk for a long time. I'm not a politician. I'm not politically inclined. But I know when somebody's saying the right things and doing the right things. And that's how I got here. Now, I do want to say this. If you see Shenna's ads, she'll say that she was a waitress. One of the things that I asked her when we met is, I said, I worked at New Franklin Laundry. That was my first big job. And I just wondered if I washed the tablecloths. But she's a few years younger, and she was down there around in the Hancock, Ellsworth area, so I never did. But we both worked for minimum wage. We know what minimum wage is. We know what it does. We knew what it did then. When minimum wage for me at the New Franklin Laundry was like $1.60 an hour. I was married. I had 2 kids. Try stretching that. So, look, what I'm saying here is, the Republicans love to talk about our grandchildren. We're mortgaging our grandchildren's future. What they don't want to talk about is like, I'm going to buzz out of here tonight because my grandson is at home. He's my grandchild. I've got 3 others. When they talk about grandchildren, what about the grandchildren that have to grow up in families where people are working McDonald's, where they're working gas stations, where they're working the minimum wage jobs, where they're driving cars that aren't paid for on minimum wage to get to a job that pays more minimum wage? What do they do when the gas prices goes up and Susan Collins says, well, we really can't raise the minimum wage. Think about our grandchildren. Gee, birds, creepers. Well, people have got grandchildren right now. I got news for you. And the minimum wage has to pay for gas, it has to pay for bread, it has to pay the credit card bills, and it has to pay in Maine the heating oil. So when she says, what about business? I say, like, the middle class is business, the lower middle class is business. What about those people? I could go on, man. You get me wound up. It's crazy. She supports the Keystone Pipeline. Not only is it nasty oil, that pipeline is going to go over the 3rd biggest aquifer in the United States. It's under 4 states. It serves 20. What if that pipeline breaks? What about our grandchildren then? They're the ones that are going to have oil in their water. You see what I'm saying? What about equal pay for equal work? What about that? What's wrong with that? Don't get me going. Don't get me going. Let me say one other thing, and then I'm going to let this woman who can really talk. I'm going to say this, that Susan Collins has ridden a long time in the Senate. She's a good person, and I would never say any different. But what can you say otherwise? Well, she's not the worst senator. Well, I'll tell you what, that leaves an awful lot of air at the bottom, doesn't it, when you think about some of the thugs that have served there. They have a thing they talk about on TV. It's called LOP, Least Objectionable Programming. And Susan Collins has skated on that for a long time with a reputation for being a moderate senator in a purple state. Well, I'll tell you what, she thinks she's going to get elected again. She's got a lot of money in the war chest. But we've got a lot of Democrats in the state of Maine. And if you can get them up off their asses, okay, money, yes, we need money in this campaign. But this woman here has a really, really good chance to be the next senator. And it will send a shockwave through politics.
Oh, yes.
So, without further ado, I want to give you Shenna Bellows.